Okay. So in our last class, we were discussing about a pentagonal pyramid, particularly a truncated pyramid. Okay. So we have discussed about this front view and top view. So here we have to create the isometric projection. Okay. So for this, yeah, the condition is similar for all kind of problem. So initially we have to create the base. After that, we have to create the cutting points. Okay. So if the top surface is available, you have to create the top surface too. Okay. So in this diagram, we have only uh, the bottom base. The top surface, that means the top base is actually a corner. So it is your own choice whether if you want to create, you can create, or else you can directly create this particular center point. Okay. So the condition is we have to create the base with an angle of 30°. Okay. So please create a first inclined line with an angle of 30°. So already we have created this particular square, or else it may be a rectangle. It is depends upon the size. So and also with that we have marked it as P, Q, R, and S. Okay, so initially please create this PQ on this left side direction, because then only you can able to see this cut section. Okay, because in the problem itself they have clearly mentioned that draw the isometric projection of the truncated pyramid showing the cut surface. Okay, showing the cut surface. So we have to show the cut surface in the isometric projection. So if we are creating this PQ line on this direction, you can't able to see the cut surface because it will be invisible. So this particular Q point has been placed on this horizontal line. So I have measured this particular distance, and also I can mark this particular line. So the end point of this line is P. So after creating this particular line, then you can create the second line. So this one, Q to R. Okay, so the Q to R line with an angle of 30°, and the measurement is equal to this Q to R. Okay, so after creating this, you can create two parallel line. So one parallel line should be one line should be parallel to P to Q, and the another line should be parallel to Q to R. Okay, so after if you are creating these two parallel lines, you'll be getting a point called S. Okay, so this PS is parallel to QR, and this RS is parallel to PQ. Okay, so now you have created the base. Okay, so what is our next step? You can mark the necessary 5 corners. So these 5 corners A, B, C, D, and E is available on this square. Okay, is available on this square. So point A is available on S to P. Okay, point A is available on S to P. So you can mark the first point on this particular line. Okay, so point A will be available on this place. So this one will be A, because it is on the line called P to S. So the next point B is available on P to Q, exactly at the middle portion. So this one is B. So you can mark it with a capital letter. Okay, so this one is capital A and this one is capital B. Similar to that, C is available on the line called Q to R. So here you will be having the point called C. And point D and point E will be available on the line R to S. So here it will be point D, and here it will be point E. Okay, A, B, C, D, E. Now you can join these 5 corners with the lines. But before that, please try to understand whether we have to highlight all the lines, or else we have to mark the dotted line too. So we can't able to create all lines with a straight line, because it is a base. So some edges will be invisible. Okay, so we have to mark the some particular edges in the dotted line. Okay, so the condition is that if you are looking from this direction, okay, if you are looking from this direction, எந்தெந்த ஏஜஸ்லாம் நம்மளுக்கு தெரியாதுன்னு ஃபர்ஸ்ட் நீ ஃபிக்ஸ் பண்ணிக்க. Okay, so this particular B to C will be visible because this is the front line, and C to D will be also visible because this is a side line. So if you are looking from this position, that means if you are looking from this direction, you can able to see this total entire edge. Similar to that, this A to B also visible. Okay, so this A to E and D to E will not be visible because uh, in front of this particular A to E line, we are having a line called B to C and also A to B. Similar to that, this D2 line is a hidden line because in between, in front of this, we are having a line called C to D and also B to C. Okay, so similar to that, you can mark the five corners and you can join the five corners with a straight line and a dotted line. So now we got the five base edges and five base corners. Is it clear? Is there any doubt up to this? Okay, I think everyone has created this for your last assignment. So after this, we can able to proceed with different conditions. Okay, so the conditions are you can mark the five cutting points on this diagram. Okay, so you can mark the five cutting points on this diagram, or else you can create the center point. So that's sorry, not a center point. You can create this apex point on this isometric projection, or else you can create these five corners based upon our previous problem. So first problem எப்படி பண்ணோமோ same அதே மாதிரியும் பண்ணலாம். So we are having a plenty of options. So it is your own choice. That is not a problem. But this diagram should look like a isometric projection. Okay. So you can create this section. So you can create this section on the base also. So in the baseல இந்த செக்ஷனை நீ அப்படியே கிரியேட் பண்ணிட்டு நீ இதை அப்படியே ப்ரொஜெக்ட் பண்ணலாம் மேலே, ஆர் எல்ஸ் யூ கேன் கிரியேட் த டாப் பேஸ். ஸோ இதே மாதிரி சிமிலராக யூ கேன் கிரியேட் த டாப் பேஸ் சிமிலர்ல லைக் அவர் ப்ரீவியஸ் ப்ராப்ளம். Okay, so there is no proper procedure for this problem. Okay, so in this PPT, I am going to create the particular apex point. Okay, so initially we have to locate the apex point on this base. Okay, so we can able to locate the apex point with the help of our top view. Okay, so you please try to mark this particular point. Okay, so this O point is available on the line called B2. So up to this, so you can mark a point on this edge called R to S. So you can mark this point exactly at the center. Then you can join this center point with the point called B. Okay, then you can measure the distance of O point towards this B point. Okay, you can measure this particular distance with your compass and you can create a arc on this. So this one is the this is not actually apex point. So we can get the height value from our front view. So the height of this apex is 65. So from this point you can create a vertical line. Okay, you can create a vertical line with a height of 65 mm. So you'll be getting a point called apex, that is called O. Okay, so you can create a line parallel to QR from the point called B. Okay, so you can mark the O point and you can create the axis with a height of 65 mm, that is called O. Okay, now you can join all the five corners with the point O. Okay, you can join all the points with the point O. So E to O, there is no need to mark this E to O because C to O வந்து E வழியா தான் பாஸ் ஆகுது. தெரியுதா? C to O E வழியா தான் பாஸ் ஆகுது. So E to O is invisible. And also it is passing through the same direction of C to O. So there is no need to create this E to O. இந்த மாதிரி பாஸ் ஆச்சுன்னா கிரியேட் பண்ண தேவையில்லை. ஒருவேளை உங்களுக்கு பாஸ் ஆகாம போகலாம், நீங்க டயக்ராம் ப்ராப்பரா வரையினா பாஸ் ஆகாம போகலாம். ஸோ அப்போ நீ கம்பல்சரி ட்ரா பண்ணணும். ஓகே, so clear? Do you have any doubts up to this? Now if you are having any doubts, please ask me at the same time because last போனதுக்கு அப்புறம் உங்களோட இனிஷியலாக ஒரு எரர் இருந்துச்சுன்னா அது கிளியர் பண்ண முடியாது, அதனால தான் சொல்கிறேன். ஓகே, ஸோ next our next step is that you can measure the distance of each cutting points. Okay, so in isometric projection I already told you that it is a 3D diagram, that means three-dimensional diagram. Okay, so each and every corner and actually each and every corner is having 3 dimensions. Okay, so that is the major important point, so please remember this point. Each and every corner will have 3 dimensions. It will have a dimension of x, y and z, that means length, breadth and height. Okay, so our condition is that you have to measure the 3 dimension for each cutting points called 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Okay, so first point, that is called point number 1, will have a 3 dimensions. So one is this dimension and another one is this dimension. So you can mark the 2 dimension from our top view, and the height will be measured with the help of our front view. So height can be measured with the help of our front view. So you can measure the height of point 1 dash. So now you got the 3 dimensions, one is x and another one is y and another one is z. Okay, so try to mark these 3 dimensions in this isometric projection. Is it clear? So try to mark the 3 dimensions. So one is x and second one is y. Okay, so this one is x and this one is y, and you can measure the height from our front view. So 2 dimensions is available in top view and 1 dimension is available in our front view. So x, y and z. So you don't have to mark this, so it is for your reference. Okay, so the point number 1 is available from at a distance of x from the line called P to S. So P to S ல இருந்து x distance ல இருக்கு. Okay, P to S ல இருந்து x distance ல இருக்கு, and P to Q ல இருந்து y distance ல இருக்கு. So P to Q is this. So you can mark this particular dimension. So this particular line should be parallel to this line, and this particular line should be parallel to this line. So it is very, very important. If you are not doing this, you'll be getting only wrong answer. Okay, so now you have marked the 2 dimensions in the base. Okay, you got a point of 1, and the point 1 is having a particular height, so you can mark a vertical line. Okay, so this vertical line should be parallel to the axis, so you can mark the vertical line with the height. So it will be surely touching a point called a line called A to O. So this particular point will be marked as 1. Similar to that, you can mark all the 5 points. So now புரிஞ்சுதா? Okay, so please look at our PPT. So you can measure the XY direction from our top view. Okay, and you can mark the first point like this. Okay, so now you have created a Y direction and you have created a X direction. These lines are not necessary. So please try to create this line with 2H pencil. So ரொம்ப உன்னோட கண்ணுக்கு தெரிஞ்சா போதும், கரெக்ஷன் பண்றவங்க கண்ணுக்கு தெரியணும்னு அவசியம் இல்லை. Okay, then you can create a vertical line. So you have marked X and Y and you can create a vertical line. I am sure that this vertical distance, so that means this particular vertical distance will be touching at this point line called A to O. கம்பல்சரி டச் பண்ணும், இல்லைன்னா நீ இந்த டிஸ்டன்ஸை நீ மெஷர் பண்ணணும்னு கூட அவசியம் இல்லை. ஸோ திஸ் பர்டிகுலர் டிஸ்டன்ஸ் இதை நீ மெஷர் பண்ணணும்னு கூட அவசியம் இல்லை. யூ கேன் டைரக்ட்லி கிரியேட் அ வெர்டிக்கல் லைன், and this vertical line will be touching the slant edge called A to O. Okay, so that particular point can be marked as 1. நீ ஹைட் வந்து மெஷர் பண்ணணும்னு கூட அவசியம் இல்லை. Okay, similar to that, point number 2 is available on the slant edge called B to O. So you can measure the X and Y direction for point number 2. So you can mark the directions and you can create a vertical line. You'll be getting the point number 2. Similar to that, you can measure the distance for point number 3 and you can create a vertical line. Okay, so that vertical line should be projected up to the slant edge called C2O. So look at this, point number 3 is available on C2O. So you have to project up to C2O, you'll be getting point number 3. Okay, then point number 4, you can mark the point number 4. Okay, so you have to project point number 4 up to the slant edge called D2O. You can mark the point number 4. Similar to that, point number 5, so you have to project up to E2O. Okay, so now you got all the 5 cutting points. Now you can join these cutting points with a straight line. So this top surface will be visible. It is fully visible, so you can mark all the 5 edges with a straight line. So, and also with that, you have to mark the rest of slant edges. That means you have to connect point number 1 towards point number A. Okay, 1 to point A, and 2 to point B, and 3 to point C, and 4 to point D, and 5 to point E is invisible. So you have to mark with a hidden line. Okay, so this 5 to E is invisible. So you have to mark with a dotted line. Is it clear? Any doubts? So that's all about the truncated pyramid problem. So, so far now we have discussed about truncated pyramid and also frustum. Okay. So next problem is that a cylinder problem. Okay. So a cylinder of 50 mm diameter and 60 mm height stands on HP. So it is standing on HP. So the top view will be look like a circle, and a section plane perpendicular to VP inclined at 55° to HP. So it is a uh, truncated cylinder because we are having a inclined section plane. So cuts the pyramid and passes through a point on the axis at a height of 45 mm above the base. So we have the point also, point distance also. Okay, draw the isometric projection of the truncated portion of the cylinder when the cut section is clearly visible to the observer. So look at the word, it should be clearly visible to the observer. Okay, so create a reference line and create a circle on the top view, then divide the circle into 8 equal parts. So you can name the each and every points like this, and you can project these points towards your front view, and you can create a rectangle on the front view because a cylinder will look like a rectangle on the front view. And also with that, you can mark the projection for each points. So what is our condition for this? We have to pick up a point on the axis line, that is with a height of 45 mm above the base. So you can mark the point with a height of 45 mm above the base. So before that, mark the notations. So after creating this, you can choose the direction of section plane with an angle of 55°. Okay, so you can highlight the bottom portion of your section line. So please remember one thing, it is a cylinder, so there is no need to create this particular line with the board line, and also you don't have to highlight this particular line. Okay, so our condition is that we have to project the cutting points towards your top view. Okay, so here there is no slant edges and there is no longer edges, so you can directly project this particular point towards your top view. Okay, so because all the some of the top surface has been removed. Okay, so you can project that particular cutting point towards top view. So before that, try to name the cutting points. So here we are having one edge, so it is one dash, and here we are having 2 points, so we can mark it as 2 dash of 7 dash, and here it is 3 dash of 6 dash, and here it is 4 dash of 5 dash, because we are having a line like this. So here we'll be having one cutting point and here we'll be having 2 cutting point. Okay, so you can mark the line. So that means you can highlight this particular line, then you can create a section like this. So some of the top surface has been removed. Only this particular portion has not been removed. So அதனால இதை மட்டும் நம்ம highlight பண்ண தேவையில்லை. Okay. So you can mark the cutting points on the section line. So is it clear? Is there any doubt up to this? Okay. So what is our next procedure? We have to create the base. So the circle has already uh, created with in between this particular square. So you can join the four four points of your circle with a square. So I can surely say that it is a square. Okay. And also with that you can mark the square with a notation called P of P1, Q of Q1, R of R1, S of S1. Okay. So from our condition, please look at our condition, draw the isometric projection of a truncated portion of the cylinder when the cut surface is clearly visible to the observer. So you have to note this point, it is clearly visible to the observer. அப்போ ஒரு ஹரிசாண்டல் லைன் கிரியேட் பண்ணிட்டு இதில் ஒரு பாயிண்ட்டை ஃபிக்ஸ் பண்ணுவோம் கரெக்டாக. ஸோ அந்த பாயிண்ட் எந்த பாயிண்ட், எய்தர் இட் இஸ் எஸ் ஆர் எல்ஸ் பி ஆர் எல்ஸ் கியூ ஆர் எல்ஸ் ஆர், எந்த பாயிண்ட் அங்கே ஃபிக்ஸ் பண்ணால் நம்மளுக்கு கட் போர்ஷன் கிளியராக தெரியும். Anyone can answer for this? So this cutting portion இந்த இடத்துல இல்லை. So the cutting portion is available only at this place. So if you are looking from this direction, it will not be visible. And also with that, if you are looking from this direction, it will not be visible. So our condition is that we have to look only from this direction. So that means we have to place this point P on this horizontal line. Okay. So point P should be placed on this horizontal line. So you can mark point P to Q and you can mark point P to S with the distance of 50 mm. Similar to that, you can mark the point R, okay, with the two parallel lines from point Q and S. So in our previous diagram, we have clearly marked 5 corners. If it is a pentagon, we have clearly marked the 5 corners. If it is a hexagon, we can mark the 6 corners. But here it is a circle. So if you are looking a circle from the 3D direction, it will look like a ellipse. Okay, it will look like a ellipse. So this condition is common for cylinder and also for a cone. So cone base is also a circle. Okay, so this condition is common for cylinder and also for cone. So you have to create the ellipse with the exact dimension. So it is not a rough one, and also with that this ellipse should not be created with free hand. So you have to use your compass. Okay, so please try to understand this condition. Compulsory compass da use பண்ணனும், and also with the exact dimension. Okay, so the condition is that you have to find the shortest distance of two opposite corner. Okay, you have to find the shortest distance of two opposite corner. So look at this, P and R is opposite corner and S and Q is opposite corner. So in the corner எது shortest distance, either Q to S or else P to R. So roll number 15, 15.
Yes, sir.
Roll number 15. 15 இருக்கீங்களா? என்னோட
Yes,
கொஸ்டின்
sir.
புரிஞ்சுதாம்மா? ட்ரை டு ஃபைண்ட் த ஷார்ட்டஸ்ட் டிஸ்டன்ஸ் ஆஃப் டூ ஆப்போசிட் கார்னர். ஸோ எய்தர் பி டு ஆர் இஸ் அ ஷார்ட்டஸ்ட் டிஸ்டன்ஸ் ஆர் வில் பி கியூ டு எஸ். ஸோ இதில் ரெண்டில் எது ஷார்ட்டஸ்ட்? அதாவது பி டு ஆருக்கு ஒரு லைன் கிரியேட் பண்ணுறேன், கியூ டு எஸ்ஸுக்கு ஒரு லைன் கிரியேட் பண்ணுறேன். இதில் எது வந்து
P to S,
இருக்கிறதுலே
sir.
கம்மியான அளவுன்னு கேட்குறேன். எதுமா கியூ டு எஸ்ஸா?
P to R, sir.
P to R. Okay, so P to R is the shortest distance.
Yes, sir. P
So
to
you
R.
have P to R. Okay. Okay, so P to R is the shortest distance. So you can choose this P and you can choose this R. Okay, and also with that, try to find the center point for these four edges. So try to find this center point for these four edges. Okay, so after finding these center points, you can join the point P with the opposite two center points. Okay, so that point can be marked as G1 and also E1. Similar to that, you can join this point R with the two opposite center points like this. Is it clear? Any doubts? So இன்னொரு டைம் சொல்றேன். So please fix point P and R because it is the shortest distance. So after finding the shortest distance, try to find the center point for each edges. So we are having four edges on the square. So we have to find the center point for four edges. So after finding the edges, you can join the point P with the two opposite centers. Similar to that, you can point R can be connected with the two opposite centers like this. Okay, so P is connected up to the two opposite center and point R is connected up to the two opposite center. Okay, so now you can measure the distance of P1 towards G1. So it is actually P1. Okay, so P1 towards G1. You can measure the distance of P1 and G1 with your compass. Then you can you can place your compass exactly on this point P1. You can create an arc like this. It will be connected up to G1 to E1. So now you have to use your compass. Okay, you can place your compass on the point P1. You can measure the distance of P1 to G1. Then you can create an arc up to the point E1. Similar to that, now you can measure the distance of R1 to A1. Okay, now you can place your compass on this point R1. Then you can create an arc like this up to the point C1. Okay, so we have to connect these two arcs. So the center point for connecting these two arcs is this. So now you can place your compass exactly on this point. Okay, so you can place your compass exactly on this point. Then you can measure the distance of this particular line. You can place your compass on this place. Then you can create an arc like this. It will be connected up to C1. Okay, similar to that, now you can place your compass on this place. So you can measure the distance of this particular line. Then you can create an arc like this. So it should be connected up to point A1. So now you got the ellipse, the exact ellipse with a diameter of 50 mm. So in isometric projection, it will look like an ellipse. But if you are looking from the top view, it will look like a circle. Is it clear? Any doubts? Okay, so the first arc is from P1 to G1 and the second arc is from R1 to A1 and you can mark the two arcs. So you'll be getting a ellipse. Okay. So now we got the base. Then our condition is that we have to create the top surface also, because it is a cylinder. So compulsorily you have to create the top surface. So you can create four vertical lines from P1, Q1, R1 and S1 with a height of 60 mm. Okay, so you'll be getting PQRS. So now you can connect these PQRS with a similar line. So the line வந்து base மாதிரியே இருக்கணும். Okay, so now you have created the top surface. As like our first problem, you have created the top surface. Okay, so now our condition is that we have to create this particular line. Okay, so for that, similar to our base, you can create the top circle. Is it clear? So here the condition is, so you have to look at the two shortest distance. So P and R is the shortest distance. So you can connect P with the two opposite center point and R with the two opposite center point like this. So you'll be getting G and E, and also you'll be getting A and C. Similar to that, you can measure the distance of B to G and you can create a arc. Similar to that, you can measure the distance of R to A, you can create an arc. அப்படியே பேஸ் மாதிரியே என்ன பண்ணணும், டாப் சர்ஃபேஸ் கிரியேட் பண்ணணும். Now you can create the cutting points. So before that, try to mark these center points, sorry, these points to H1, D1. So we have already marked the A1, B1, C1, D1. So similar to that, you can mark the top surface also. Okay, so now you can erase this because it is very difficult for finding a single line. So in our previous diagram, we are having a construction line for the ellipse. So the construction line for ellipse is not necessary. So you can remove the construction line. So நீங்கள் டயக்ராமில் அப்படியே லைட்டாக வச்சுருங்க, எரேஸ் பண்ணிட வேண்டாம். எரேஸ் பண்ணால் உங்கள் டயக்ராமே டோட்டலாக இதாயிரும், நீட்னஸ் இல்லாமல் போயிடும். Okay, so I have removed the construction line for ellipse for your understanding purpose. Okay, so after that I have to we have to join the two opposite corners. Okay, so A is connected with A1 and B is connected with B1, C is connected with C1, D is connected with D1, E is connected with E1 because it is invisible, and F is connected with F1. So அதெல்லாமே invisible lines. Okay, so what is our condition is that we have to mark this particular line, vertical line. So this particular vertical line, so you are having a two cutting points on this vertical line. One is 4 and another one is 5. So you have to mark this point 4 and point 5. Okay, you have to mark this point 4 and point 5. So please remember one thing, point 4 is on point 5 is available on point 5 is available on nearer to F, okay, and far away from G. So it is available on this curve. And point 4 is available on C to D. So it is nearer to D. So you can measure this particular distance from your compass. You can measure this distance with the help of your compass. Okay, you can measure this distance. Similar to that, you can measure this particular distance. Okay, so 0.5 is available on nearer to F. So you can mark the 0.5. So it is available in between F to G. So you can mark the 0.5 on this place, and 0.4 is available in between C to D and also nearer to D. Okay, so this one will be 0.4. Now you can connect this 0.5 and 0.4 with the straight line. This line should be parallel to P2S line, or else it should be parallel to this Q2R line. Okay, you can mark the line like this. Okay, So then our condition is that we have marked the two cutting points. So we are having 7 cutting points, totally 7 cutting points. So you can mark by each and every cutting point. So point number 1 is available on A1 dash to A dash. Okay, it is available on A1 dash to A dash. So you can measure this particular distance from your compass, and you can mark the point number 1 on this A1 to A line. Okay, so before that, you can mark the point number 1 on the A1 to A line. You can measure this distance. Similar to that, you can measure the distance of 2 and 7. So 2 is available on B1 to B. Okay, so 1 is available on A1 to A, and 2 is available on B1 to B, and 3 is available on C1 to C. We have marked 4 and 5 already. So 6 is available on G1 to G, and 7 is available on H1 to H. So we have marked point number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So now you can connect these 7 cutting points with your free hand, and also it should be connected like a curve. So you should not use your scale. Okay, like this you have to connect all the 7 cutting points. Okay, you have to connect the 7 cutting points with your free hand. Please don't use scale for this. So now you can highlight the remaining portions. So what are all the remaining portions? The front portion of your isometric projection. So this is our front portion, and this is also our front portion, and this particular circle is also our front portion. So the remaining circle should be joined with the dotted line like this, because the backside circle will not be visible. Okay. And also you can mark the section line. So now we have followed the condition in our problem when the cut surface is clearly visible to the observer. So now the cut surface is available. It is visible. Is it clear? Any doubts? Okay, Gana. So that's all about today's class. Okay. So now the time is 2:55. So try to mark this. Try to complete these two problems, and in your today's classwork, you have to submit the two problems. One is cylinder, and another one is pentagonal pyramid. நீங்கள் ஆல்ரெடி பென்டகனல் பிரமிட் ஆஃப் முடிச்சிருப்பீங்க. ஸோ அதிலே நீ கண்டினியூ பண்ணி அதையும் சப்மிட் பண்ணிடுங்க. ஓகே. ஸோ another one more important thing is that உங்களோட அசைன்மெண்ட்டோட ஃபர்ஸ்ட் அசைன்மெண்ட் நான் கம்ப்ளீட் பண்ணி மார்க் ரிட்டன் பண்ணிட்டேன். ஓகே. ஸோ உங்களுக்கு டோட்டலாக 5 மார்க்ஸ் ஃபார் அசைன்மெண்ட். ஸோ அதில் நான் 3 மார்க்ஸ்க்கு ரிட்டர்ன் பண்ணியிருக்கேன். ஸோ அதில் வந்து நான் ஒரு அசைன்மெண்ட் சூஸ் பண்ணேன். அதில் ஒரு நியர்லி ஒரு 8 பேர் சப்மிட் பண்ணாமல் இருந்தீங்க. அந்த 8 பேருக்கு 0ன்னு போட்டு க்ளோஸ் பண்ணி அனுப்பிட்டேன். சிமிலர் டு தட் நான் உங்களோட நெக்ஸ்ட் அசைன்மெண்ட் கரெக்ஷன் பண்ணுவேன். ஸோ நெக்ஸ்ட் அசைன்மெண்ட் இஸ் ஃப்ரம் யூனிட் 4 அண்ட் யூனிட் 5. அதுக்கு 2 மார்க் நான் அலோகேட் பண்ணுவேன். ஸோ டோட்டலி 3 + 2 5 மார்க்ஸ். ஓகே. எனி டவுட்ஸ்? இது யாருக்காவது கரெக்ஷன்ஸ் ஏதாவது இருக்கா நாங்கள் உங்களுக்கு கொடுத்த மார்க்கில்? Okay, so I'm going to show your internal marks up to today's class. I think the screen is visible. So you can see your tutorial marks and also assignment mark. So we have done 5 tutorials, and 6th tutorial is on from 4th unit. Sorry, 4th unit முடிச்சிட்டோம். 5th unit மட்டும் தான் 6th tutorial. Okay, 6th tutorial based on 5th unit, and also assignment 1 is completed. So assignment 2 வந்து நான் கம்ப்ளீட் பண்ணி இதே மார்க் அட்டாச் பண்ணிடுவேன். ஸோ டோட்டலி 20 மார்க்ஸ். So this part is for 15 marks and this one is for 5 marks. So total 20 marks. 30 marks உங்களுக்கு CAT எக்ஸாம்ஸ்லேருந்து வரும். ஸோ CAT எக்ஸாம் மார்க் தான் இது. ஸோ டோட்டல் அவுட் ஆஃப் 50க்கு உங்களோட மார்க்ஸ் இது தான் வரும். ஸோ ரோல் நம்பர் 39. ரோல் நம்பர் 39 அவைலபிளா? ஓகே, ரோல் நம்பர் 39 இஸ் ஆப்சென்ட். ஓகேங்கண்ணா. ஸோ உங்களுக்கு ஏதாவது டவுட்ஸ் இருந்தால் கேட்கலாம், இல்லைன்னா நீங்கள் கிளாஸ் லீவ் பண்ணிக்கலாம். ஸோ ரோல் நம்பர் 31.
எஸ் சார்.
ரெக்கார்டிங் உங்களோட லிங்க்ல தான் சேவ் ஆகுது ஒன் ட்ரைவில். எனக்கு சேஞ்ச் பண்ணி விட்டுறீங்களா?
எஸ் சார்.
ஓகே, கொஞ்சம் சீக்கிரம் பண்ணிடுங்க.